Okay, here we go. So if you listen to this on audio, it probably won't work too well. We'll try. We'll see how it goes. But the main thing with this is going to be video. Now remember, this isn't a professional operation, so I'm going to do the best I can. Obviously, I'm wearing my George's Ribs and Roasters t-shirt to cook in. This is my favorite shirt to cook in. Place doesn't exist anymore, so this is a bit of a collector's item. But whatever. I'm trying to be too cute. So what you're going to see tonight is I had a couple people ask me about making my breakfast, which I'm going to make right now. I make 4 of them in a row for 4 days in a row. But then also I looked in my fridge and I was out of pasta. So I'm also going to make my meat over pasta recipe tonight. So you're going to see me make my 4 lunches and 4 breakfasts for the next 4 days. Why is this important? Well, number one is I know me, and this is what drives me insane. When you get, and I know I pick on these people, but they deserve to be picked on. When you get the intermittent fasting person, and you get the vegan vegetarian person, you get the zone person that eating is a hormonal event, whatever they're, and the meat caveman person who apparently only eats food from cavemen, but apparently cavemen also ate pre-processed caveman bars that they sell you, right? So the point is you have all these people telling you this is the way that you should diet. This is the way you lose weight. You know what happens is I'm kind of sitting back for about 2 decades now watching this whole thing go down. And you know what I've seen? I've seen someone lose weight on all those diets, and I've seen other people fail on all those diets. The bottom line is it's not the diet, it's the person and how well they match up to the diet. So what I'm going to show you tonight, sorry I said so too many times. What I'm going to show you tonight is what I found what works for me. And having meals ready ahead of time. So I don't have to cook and clean multiple dishes on multiple days. And when I'm hungry, I don't have to wait for the food to be ready. It's just sitting there already done. This is what works for me. It has meat in it. It has bread in it. It's got potatoes in it. You will find foods that I eat on this meal plan, which have kept me as lean as I need to be for my life. Or on some maniac's diet book, going to kill you, or banned, or guaranteed to make you gain weight. Here, I'll show you one crazy thing about me. This is how you know I'm not a serial killer. While I don't eat a wide variety of foods, you will see that I don't eat a wide variety of foods. All right? I'm very happy with this. You would think this amount of pasta and these amount of nightshades, oh my God, the nightshades, they're coming to kill us, right? You would think somehow I'd be 500 pounds with heart disease. And yet I'm not. So, to go back to earlier, anytime some jackass makes a multi-million-dollar documentary trying to convince you that they know the game-changing secrets, they're lunatics who, ever since religion died down, they've had to fill it in with something else. So this is their religion. This is their jihad, their crusade. This is what they're going to convert you in. Right? I've been eating this stuff for years, and I'm doing fine. Because it works for me, because I like these foods and I eat them in specific. Obviously, I like these foods. You know, I'm not a serial killer. See how they're not all in the same lineup? See how they're all kind of like turned and disorganized? Right? You got to find foods that you like, eat them in portions that'll allow you to lose weight, and eat things that are sustainable. I don't even know what the hell to say. Right now, this should be a giant cabinet of failure, and yet it's not. That's why I get so wacko when people go so hell-bent for one type of dietary system. Because you're a human being. You need to eat a diet that works for you. The only general rule is you need to eat less. Wait a second, let me think that through. You need to eat less than you burn off. That's it. And you need to eat things you like and things that keep you full. So you're going to see me cook things. So the first thing I do is I'm going to put the camera, let's see. I got to grab, since this is going to be meat over pasta, I'm going to grab the 32-ounce jar and not the 24-ounce jar. If I was going to make just straight pasta and have that with a can of tuna fish or some other meat, I'd grab the 24-ounce jar and I'd grab 1 box. And I'd make 4 portions of that. But since I'm going to be mixing it, I use the larger jar of sauce. I find this keeps the leaner meats from drying out. So that's it. I also have some spaghetti in a drawer over there, but it wouldn't fit. So I'm going to take this Penny Rigati. Am I saying that right? Yep. And I'm going to take the marinara sauce. Let me tuck that under the pit. And I'm going to take the marinara sauce and I'm going to close this up. All right. So now we're going to go back into the kitchen. So now we got our sauce. Evil nightshades. And now we have our pasta. All right, very good. So that's for the pasta. For the breakfasts, we have our skillet. Now, I hate this thing. This is one of the worst skillets I've ever used. I bought this at Target in Bridgewater, New Jersey. I just moved with my buddy John Burns. That's when my divorce was over. And this is the only model they had. If I had to do it all over again, I wasn't as cheap. I'd throw this thing out, go on Amazon, and buy one of the DeLonghi brand. All right? You can already see this thing. It's supposed to have like this special surface that doesn't stick, but it sucks. But it works, and I'm cheap, so I keep it. So what I do is I plug this sucker in right here, all right? And for the hash browns, the evil hash browns, the potatoes without the skin on them, the white potatoes, which are going to make you fat and kill you, right? I put that sucker at 325. I don't know if you can see that right there. So this just says 325. I don't have to show you everything. I plug this sucker in. Right, so now this sucker is plugged in. Let's tuck this right over here. It's going to take a little longer than normal. I'm going to start running the water to get that hot so it boils faster. So hopefully it doesn't screw the audio up. All right, took it out. And here's my tablespoon. So this is how it works. Turn this off and screw everything up. I take this evil vegetable oil, olive oil. Hey, Shank, you shouldn't cook with that olive oil. It denatures at a certain temperature. You're going to die. Yeah, my cholesterol is 170. I've been eating this meal every breakfast, 360 days out of the year for years now. So I should be dead by now, and I'm not. So that should tell you everything you need to know about the survivalist food lunatics. The recipe for the hash browns calls for, I think it's like 8 of these. I find I don't need that much oil, so therefore I don't need that much calories, so therefore I can eat the foods I like and still be in a calorie deficit. You may need a little less because you're not as big as me, but I will tell you, I have had a client, he was 183 pounds, no offense to him, he's a beautiful man. He was fat, right? He was chubby, he was juicy. I had him eat this exact breakfast. Well, I didn't have to do anything. He ate this exact breakfast. I'm not looking to start a cult here of hash browns and olive oil. And he got all the way down to 146 eating this exact breakfast. So maybe you adjust your calories for the rest of the day. But this thing is awesome. I actually look forward to eating this damn breakfast every day. So I take the measuring spoon. I'm going to tell you what this is. You know what the hell this is. And I put 4 of these sons of bitches in there. Right, there's 2, 3. It's not going all the way up, though a little's dripping in, so some anal retentive asshole will pick it up. And I put it in the cap so it doesn't drip. And then I kind of spread it around like here. Oh, real quick. That right there, that's the fire smoke detector. That will go off at some point during this video. I'm that bad of a cook. So while that's heating up, I'm going to pull out the hash browns. Again, not to beat this to death, but these are the evil white potato hash browns. Why do I use these? Because I like them. And they make 4 perfect portions for me. And I like them. That's the key thing. All the other crap that gets attached to this, people need to go shove it up their ass, right? Now what I do is, so it doesn't turn into like Titanic icebergs, where part of it's burned and part of it's still frozen, I give it a little fist right there. Grabbing this little inside here, grab the end here, the shit's gonna pop out of the side. I'm cursing too much for a general use video, I apologize. Right, so right there. A little pumped up. Right, so right there. And I try to find all the big Jack Frost, Billy Zane, James Cameron icebergs in there, and I crush them up. That way when I pour it out, again, I don't have to worry about doing it when it's in the pan. So now all of a sudden I'll set that off there while it's heating up. Now the water goes on. Put my strainer in there, so when the pasta's ready to go, I can strain that out. And I'm going to fill this sucker up. Okay. So that's about the heat. Typically, when I know the oil's hot enough, the smoke detector goes off. Yeah, that's the way I cook. Whatever. This is my diet. I don't have to watch the Food Network and it's the best bolognese I've ever had. Watch a bunch of people who have substituted a sex life for food, right? This is it. So here, water's going to fill up. Don't fill it up all the way. It's going to take forever to boil. Now you may ask, why this pasta? Well, I'll tell you as soon as the cooking starts. All right, I'm bored. I'll tell you already. So, DiCecco pasta. Went to the store. I never knew this pasta ever existed. Then a client of mine went to go to Italy to see the village his grandfather grew up in. And when they got to the village, no one spoke English, but everyone treated them like they were family. And what they found out was this village of these real deal like Italians. Not like the people in New Jersey who pretend to be Italians, you know, like where I grew up, like the German people want to be Italian. I'm talking about like real deal Italians. Everyone in the entire town worked for this factory. Either they worked for the factory that made the human pasta, or they worked for the factory that made the dog pasta. And so every time I get a chance to buy, and plus this stuff tastes fantastic. It's milled a certain way, so the sauce sticks to it. I'm not even going to explain why I use this. If you don't know why I use this, I can't help you. You may not know about this pasta. So apparently it's milled in a way that the sauce sticks to it better. But every time I see like cheap Barilla brand or like Ronzoni or San Giorgio, and I'm like, oh, I could save myself about 70 cents, 80 cents a box, I think about that village of Italian people who treated my clients so well, and about it. God forbid the DiCecco Pasta Factory ever goes out of business. They're all going to be like broken, eating their dogs, right, for food, right? Maybe that's a little dramatic, but that's what motivates me. Yeah, it tastes fantastic, but I'm literally motivated to help keep the village alive. So that's why I use DiCecco pasta, besides the fact it tastes awesome. So now I got that going on. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to throw this sucker on my inferior electric oven. All right, electric ovens, we all know they are inferior to gas ovens, but this is what I got, so this is what I use. So I put that on high, and that starts to heat up, I hope. Unless the oven broke. Okay, it's starting to heat up, so that'll start to boil. Right now, all right, potatoes are almost ready, so let's go back over here. Move the DiCecco family out. Okay, so you see this all over here. I'm going to rip this open. Throw that in the trash, and then I'm going to pour an even layer of these over the evil oil. So we got evil white potatoes over the evil oil. And no smoke detector. That was pretty impressive. All right, there we go. Not a good cooking day if Shank doesn't turn off the smoke detector. All right, hopefully it's not carbon monoxide. I think that's smoke. All right, so there we go. So we spread that all out. Yes, I did wash my hands before this. And plus, it's my disgusting hands, so I really don't care. So that goes in the trash. So right now, that sucker, I'm going to take my shitty watch, right? And my Apple Watch, it reads my heart rate. It's like a $25 Timex. All right. Shit, what am I doing? I'm all pumped up about the video. And I'm going to put it on for 7 minutes. Right there. So there's your 7 minutes. You see that? And I'm going to hit the timer. That goes there. That'll remind me so I don't burn them. So right now, now I can start catching up on some stuff. So that's cooking. You know what? I'm going to take my spatula, my OXO spatula, which I also bought at Target. This is actually good. This is not bent or broke. This thing sucks. All right there. Okay, Target's only a company that can't get everything right. And I'm just going to spread these potatoes out a little. Get a little shot of this. So here are the potatoes right there. So they're cooking. What happened? There we go. So they're cooking, right? They're going to cook for 7 minutes on that side, and then you'll see what comes after that. So now I can start pulling out all the things I'm going to store these foods. It's right now you're seeing this is boiling on the oven right there. Okay, very good. Hopefully that doesn't go back off to my cabinet. And I'm going to grab 4 of these glass containers. Now, people might be like, why use glass, Shank? You know, you're afraid of the plastics and your testosterone levels? No. These are on sale at, where the hell did I get these? At TJ Maxx. So I bought them. So I'm just going to put these off to the side here. And there are 4 of them. And I'm going to store the meat over pasta in these. So once the meat over pasta is done, I'll set it outside, let it cool for about an hour. And then I'll put it in the fridge, and I have lunch for 4 days. I like the way it tastes. It keeps me full. And it's, when it's eaten with my breakfast and the 2 protein shakes you're going to see me make, it's food that I like that keeps me in a calorie deficit. And that's all that matters. Not the nightshade stuff, not the pasta stuff, not the vegan, vegetarian stuff. If you want to lose weight, it comes down to numbers. And if you want to make the numbers work well over time, you've got to eat consistently food you like in the proper proportion. Proper portion, proper portions. So, I guess also I can pull these out. These are what I store the breakfasts in. So these are just leftover Chinese food containers. So I got 4 of them for 4 breakfasts. So I'll set these off to the side. And what else do I do? Oh yeah, and I'll pull out the pan. That's for when the egg whites come out later. You'll see that's part of the whole egg white hash brown meal. What else do I need to pull out? I'll pull out my protein powder. So while that's cooking and that's boiling, I'll make my protein shake. Now, people might say to me, what brand do you use? And I use a brand called from Beverly Nutrition. Why do I use this? Well, I think I've told you this before. If you're a fan of dodgeball, you know the reason why Patches O'Houlihan drinks his own urine is because it's sterile and he likes the taste. Well, I happen to know Beverly has very high manufacturing standards. So I don't know if it's sterile, but whatever. And I like the taste. It's not urine. So how I make this, and also, by the way, I've been drinking this for years. And one of the things I find about this protein powder compared to a lot of the other ones, yes, it's a little more expensive, but if you buy enough of it, you get to be part of their gold club and you get a discount on it. One of the things I found with this protein shake powder is it does not turn my Calvin Kleins into Calvin lines, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to get too detailed on that one, but you read between you got the most processed food on planet Earth right here, right? It's protein jammed down into a powder. So you better have a high quality version of it. This stuff is so processed, it makes Cheetos look like they grew off a tree, all right? So if you're going to spend money on protein powder, don't get a jug that's 6 times this size, that's like $20, because it's probably made of a bunch of ground up bone and guts. I shouldn't say that. I might be libeling something. If someone mentioned a regular brand, I'm protected. But I buy this stuff because, again, it doesn't make me sick, and that counts for a lot. So here's how I make it. Water's still boiling, so we're good. That's still got another 2 minutes and 54 seconds, so I can make my shakes. So what I do is I take 2 scoops of it. Do I measure it on a scale? No. There's 1 scoop. There's 2 scoops. That's about who knows. It's about 42 grams of protein. Again, oh shit, you should be drinking this much protein powder. Hey, oops, sorry. Hey, I gotta work for a living. I go train 7 or 8 people in a day to make a living. I can't sit at home and blog all day, right? Talking about other people's privilege. I gotta bust my ass for a living. So sometimes between clients, this is what I have access to. Plus it's chocolatey. So there's a guy, Greg Doucette, I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce the guy's name. My last name is a nightmare, so I really am sensitive about mispronouncing other people's names. Greg Doucette. He talks a lot about how you should eat foods that, and I may get this wrong, but this is how I interpret it. It works for me. The idea, these are 7 and 8 foods. Yes, they're not chocolate shakes from Carvel or Thomas Sweet or wherever the hell you go, right? Oh, I'm so motivated right now, I almost broke into the Carvel song, but I won't do that to you right now. I'll probably start singing it later. But it has a chocolatey flavor and a chocolatey taste to it, and I like it. So it kind of satisfies my need for chocolate. It gives me a lot of protein, and because I work for a living, and I don't sit around playing guitar all day and blogging, this is what I drink, and it works for me. I've done it for years. So, stop with all the superfluous crap about all these little details that you know make such a difference that don't make a difference. Don't be an idea person. It's all these idea people run around with all these friggin' ideas that, I have this great idea. Yeah, does your idea actually work? You know, the Washington, D.C. is filled with all these great idea people that come up with all these amazing ideas, and no one ever puts in place this, hey, let's reevaluate this and see if it actually does what it's supposed to do, right? This is someone for 20 years who has found something that now works for him, and he does it, and he follows through on it, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, these suckers are cooking. I'm done patting myself on the back. So now I'm going to pull a little ice out there. I'm going to put that in the shake. So it's 2 scoops. And yes, my refrigerator does say, I love dogs, but it's people I cannot stand, which is kind of odd because I'm a personal trainer, but hey, I need to vent every now and then. Okay, so we pull out the ice trays, also from Target, Oui. Put those in there. Boom, right there. Carvel ice cream. Carvel ice cream. Fresh Carvel ice cream. We make fresh ice cream. So this is like, if I ate Carvel every day, I'd have type 2 diabetes and be obese. So this is like my Carvel. Uh-oh, that means the potatoes are done. So these can sit for a second. Okay, want you to know Fudgy the Whale and Cookie Puss are the same guy. But you didn't know that. Well, you probably did. It's not that hard to figure out. All right, so there. That's done. We'll take the Diceco pasta. Well, that just cooks a little bit extra. Rip it open. Stick it in there. Boom. I don't put any extra salt or oil in there. I've never found the need to. If you want to, be my guest. Oh, that reminds me. I better get the cup out for the Baylock water. This is my one secret weapon, the Baylock water. I'll explain what that is in a second. So I'm just going to take my wooden spoon that I got from John Burns. I think he got this from Target. And I'm going to stir that sucker up. And then I'm going to set the timer on the oven. Now, it says on the box it takes about 12 minutes. So I'm going to set that. I'm going to turn the temperature on. So let me give you a little detail on this while the potatoes probably are burning. So right there. So the timer on the oven is set for 12 minutes. I turned it down from a high to about a 6. I notice if I keep it on, what am I doing? I notice if I keep it on high too long, the water starts to boil over. This is why these electric ovens really do suck. They're really hard to control the temperature on. Look, it's what I have in my house. I'm not such an obnoxious food snob. I'm obnoxious in other ways, but I'm not such an obnoxious food snob that I'm going to go spend hundreds of dollars and get a new stove, all right? But it is a downside of the electric stuff. You turn it down a little, it's starting to boil over. Okay, let me flip the potatoes. So what I do now is, oops, let me turn this. Food Network I ain't, but then again, I'm not going to make you obese. I got my oil. I put 2 more tablespoons in, spread it around on top. I haven't flipped yet. I'm pouring the oil right on top. And now I'm going to flip it with my spatula from Target. Boom, right there. A little burn. This is what happens when you start talking to the camera. You don't pay attention. That's not that bad. And if it was burned, I eat it anyway. I'm an animal, so it doesn't really matter. Right there, I flip those over. I really hope the audio on this doesn't suck. All right, now, the second half, for whatever reason, it says this on the package, and I found this to be true. The second half does not take as long. All right, so the second half of these probably takes about 6 minutes to cook. So there that is. I can throw this in the second when I'm done with that. I can put the oil away. Pasta's still cooking. The timer's running on that. Let's just take a quick look at this, what this looks like. All right, so there it is. There's your potatoes. They've been flipped. I put the oil on first, then flipped them, and now they're cooking for 6 minutes. I'll set the watch for that. So right there, again, so they don't burn. There's your 6 minutes. Beautiful. Okay, and then I'm going to fill these up with water to the top. So right now it's that little evil medicine, that little metal ball in the bottom. A lot of evil stuff in this video. And then I'm going to fill it right there. Okay, right there. So it's the metal ball with water up to there, 2 scoops of and then about 3 or 4 ice cubes on top, then water. Why? I find this keeps the protein powder from sticking to the sides. So now we're going to shake that up. Again, look how simple my diet is. It's not all these complicated things, because I'm not a complicated guy. And my diet has to reflect me, not some idealized standard from some guru who you pray to because you don't believe in God. All right? So boom, done. There's my protein powders. Now, we're getting close, so I'm going to start pulling out some of the other ingredients. As I talk behind the door, and obviously you can't hear me. All right, so these are my egg whites. There's nothing special about these egg whites. These were on sale at ShopWrong or ShopRite, I can't remember. This is the beef that I use. This was on sale at Evil Walmart. Usually I use a leaner meat. This is 93 because this recipe allows me to. It's not because I'm some kind of healthy meat snob. Apparently the 7% extra fat in here has not screwed up my cholesterol levels. So the idea of eating dry meat for no good reason. But if I can get a leaner meat, I will. The problem is it's really friggin' expensive. And second off, when I put it in the sauce, as you see here, when I do the recipe, you'll see it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. So that's just going to go right there for right now. And of course, here are my whole eggs in my convenient egg tray I got from Naomi Sussman and George Fagan. So I'm going to put these over here. You'll see how those kind of incorporate in. So let me pause the audio so I don't have a giant file and I can send it to myself. I'm going to hit done. Make the phone locked out. And I'm going to hit another recording. Okay, good. So that's cooking. That's got another, it's apparently 3 minutes and 53 seconds. A lot of times I'll take that off early because I find it burns. This is still cooking. Maybe turn up a little bit. Give it a stir. I really need to get a camera team. Stir this right here with the John Burns wooden spoon. It says it's got about 7 minutes and 30 seconds left. Awesome. So that's cooking. That's cooking. What else do I got to do? Nothing really. Everything's ready to go. So this is how simple it is. And normally I'd watch an episode of The Mentalist, which I know my buddy Josh Zender hates. He said it's like a modern version of Murder, She Wrote. And he's kind of right, but I still like it, so I watch it. So normally I have The Mentalist playing on here, or Psych, which is my show that Brady Satchwell told me to watch. But I watched all those episodes from doing my meal prep. Or I'll go write my list for the next day, or if my dogs are here, I'll play with them. But it's just, again, this is simple. Now I'll have 4 lunches and 4 breakfasts ready to go with minimal dishes. I've got this one dish, the strainer, the lid, and that pot, and that's it. And then this cup for Baylock water, but that's not a big deal. And that's it. And again, these are the things that make a difference in your diet. Making the diet work for you versus having some set of rules that you'll have no chance of adhering to long term. Now look, there's a great thing Lyle McDonald once said. I think it sounded like he's been dead for 400 years. Lyle McDonald said this thing on his podcast about how the diet that you lose weight on is not the diet that you have to keep the weight off on. And he said it much more eloquently than that, but you get the point. You don't have to use the same diet to lose weight as the same diet to keep the weight off. But it doesn't hurt. And so from the get-go, I came up with foods. Again, it sounds like a goddamn broken record, but it's still true. And it solves so many of your problems and questions when you got all these assholes. Again, I'm cursing again, I'm sorry. But you got all these assholes trying to sell you something. Or if they're not trying to sell you something for their own financial gain, which is almost always the case, they're trying to sell you something for their own socio-political, they want to have a cult game. I have no desire for that. I don't want a bunch of shankaholics walking around. Right? Not that that would ever happen. That'd be really weird. But, right? Find food you like. Find portions of them that you can eat that work for you. And then move on with your life. That's it. Now, right now, this says is 1:30. Sometimes this cooks a little faster on the second side, like I've already said. So I'm just going to give it a quick flip to see how it's doing. Yeah, that part's doing okay. See, that part's cooked. That's why this thing sucks. This Oster thing. It doesn't cook evenly. All right. So I'm going to take some of the potatoes off because they're burning. So the other half are raw. Not really. I'm being a little dramatic. And I'm going to put them in my Chinese food container. Containers. Boom, right there. So that's one. There's its corresponding lid. That's from the Chinese place. This actually was from Teresa's in Princeton. Got some takeout from there. By far more superior takeout containers than the Chinese food place, but hey, I'll take what I can get. And I put a portion of potatoes in there. Do I weigh it out and measure it exactly? No. I know there's 4 portions in the bag for me. And it works, right? Right there. You say, oh shit, what if I don't weigh as much as you do? Then eat fucking less food. Sorry. Eat less food, that's all. Don't eat all the potatoes. Separate them for another meal later in the day. Or throw them out, I don't care. Look, I'm telling you, I may weigh around 200 pounds. I've been eating this meal since I weighed 220 and was a little fat, right? So, right, there's the buzzer. I see the buzzer told me it's done, but it really was just done, so that's all there. So there's my 4 portions. I'll show you that in a second. Put the spatula there. I'm going to turn the temperature down to about, I don't know what that is, about 300, maybe a little above 275. So let's get a look at that. All right, so there you go. So now I turn the temperature down. There's the pan. There are the portions. So I'm going to let that cool off a little because a lot of times if I throw the Pam in the pan when I go to do the egg whites, pan thing, right? Hello, human resources lady. What I find out is the pan burns and gets all brown. It's disgusting. And this stuff is the biggest, well, we won't get into that. But this stuff is fat in a can, so you can't put too much on it. I know I've used the analogy that people spray this like some 1980s New York City subway dirtbag. Look, it's artwork. No, it's dirtbag graffiti. If it was artwork, it'd be framed up and it'd be in a museum somewhere. You're ruining people's lives. I can city look like total pieces of crap. But people like spray it on there like, ugh, this is my gang sign, right? It's not. It's boom right there. That's what. Oh, that was actually too much. That's probably like 27 grams of fat right there. Socio-political issues. Guy wears shorts for a living. All right, I'm gonna stir my pasta again right there. Got my non-New York City 1980s dirtbag levels of Pam spray painted in my pan. And now I'm going to pour the egg whites in. See how simple this is? People are like, oh, Shank, it's more expensive and you shouldn't buy it in the box because it's more organic to buy the eggs and do it yourself. Dude, listen, I hate cooking. Hate it, right? What makes you think that for every minuscule gain, which you don't get any, of doing that stupid egg white thing in the pan, I'm going to do that? I'm not, and therefore I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to follow it. It's not going to work. So get this in your head when you make up your diet. If you're not going to follow it, if it's going to be a short-term thing and you don't have an exit strategy, then don't do it. If your diet's going to be a goddamn miserable mess to put together, you're not going to follow through it long-term. You're going to be the idea guy with all these little factoids that you know. Some of the most overweight people I know every goddamn nutrient in every goddamn piece of food. And yet when it comes to actually doing things, a calorie deficit to lose weight, they can't seem to manage that. They know about the vitamin B12 content in asparagus, if it even exists. But they can't seem to figure out how to eat less than they burn off. Right? This is how we eat less than I burn off. I make things that are simple for me. Okay, I spend a little more money on the egg whites in the box. Who gives a shit? Done right there. Okay. Now, this is my little secret. What I do is I take the eggs, Naomi Sussman, George Fagan egg carrier, and I crack them in here. Boom, there's one. Sometimes I wind up with a little shell. Like I said, I hate cooking, and I'm not good at cooking. I think the two are very related. But right there, boom, there's another shell. I put 4 of these in there, so technically it's one of those. I don't know how big that serving thing is. How big is this son of a bitch? It's 32 ounces, so it's like 8 ounces of egg whites per serving, and then 1 whole egg. Why do I do this? Number one, I like the taste. Again, going back to that Patches O'Houlihan urine comment. But the other thing was, about 6 months eating this breakfast, I only used to put the egg whites in. And what happened was, I started to get irritations in my mouth. And I was like, well, what am I, like chewing in my sleep? And the only thing that made a difference was when I started putting whole eggs with the egg whites, they disappeared within like a week. So I'm not trying to pull some like naturopathic voodoo stuff on you here. But it's just something I noticed. I like the taste of it. If the two are related, awesome. That means the pasta's done. Take that off in a second. But it works. So I put 4 whole eggs in, 1 whole egg per serving. It gives me an extra like 9 grams of protein anyway, in addition to like the 24 grams of protein I got there. So I'm maintaining muscle in a calorie deficit, which protein helps aid you maintain muscle when you follow it up with a good resistance program. So this is going to cook. So we'll just work this real quick before I take the pasta out and it turns into mush. Doesn't that look nice? That's lovely right there. Right, so there's your egg whites, there's your whole eggs. Now, the pasta is going to come out, but here is the trick. Right, this is about as fancy with cooking as I'm going to get. I turn the water off. For some odd reason, I give it an extra stir. I don't know why I do that. Put it off to the side. I'm going to let it cool for a couple seconds, and then I pull out my Baylock water cup. Okay, so this is Baylock water. This is named after, I think it's Karen. I don't think Nicole told me about this. This is Karen Baylock water. I take the Baylock water in the Pyrex. And be careful. You got to let this water cool down. Pyrex is not what it used to be. And I actually looked this up online, and that is not some old, broken-down guy making fun of the younger generation. Literally, Pyrex is not the same as what it used to be. Go look it up yourself. You'll see. They changed the manufacturing. They used some other carbon material in it. I remember you could go up to Mount, what's the mountain in Hawaii with all that, Mount whatever in Hawaii. You could go take one of these and scoop up some friggin' liquid hot magma and take it home to mom. Now I'm nervous about putting it in a pot of not yet still boiling water. So right there. So what I'm going to do is I need a half a cup of Baylock water. I'm going to pour this out. You'll see why in a second. So it's about a half a cup of Baylock water right there. I'm going to put that off to the side. Now I'm going to drain the pasta in the pasta drainer. Egg whites are actually starting to get cooked, so I got to be quick on my feet here. Pour all that in there. And let that sucker drain. Is there anything stuck to the bottom? Yes. Two pastas stuck to the bottom. Boom, I'm going to put this back on here in a minute. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use that pot again in a minute. All right, so we're going to leave that right there. Baylock water is right here. Okay, Baylock water goes there. And now I'm going to start stirring up the egg whites and the 4 whole eggs. There we go. Okay, and this is starting to really get a nice stink to it. Nice. If you don't like the stink, get yourself a friggin' candle or suck it up, because there's probably something that you eat that stinks like hell, or your opinions might stink like hell, right? So if you're making this meal with someone that you live with, like, I don't want to eat your egg whites. Well, I don't want to hear your opinion, all right? You just stir it right there. Some freaking, they sell those freaking Yankee candles and shop bra all over the place. So just get one of those. It'll smell like vanilla. Right, stir it right there. It's not cooking as quick as I would like. But I'm just going to let that cool off a little bit. Pasta drained, Baylock water will cool off a little bit, and then we can just focus on the pasta. So I'm just stirring this. I'll show you what this looks like in a second. Actually, this is doing pretty good today. I think this thinks I was talking trash about it. It's not sticking that bad. That's up there. Let me show you a picture of this, or a video of this, not a picture of it. So there that is. That's the egg whites all scrambled up. Doesn't that look wonderful? Okay. And that's all scrambled up. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to cook all the way, because over the next few days I'm going to reheat this, right? So I'm going to take a scoop of egg whites, big plop of it, put it in there. Big plop of it, put it in there. That's one portion. There's another portion. Beautiful. Obviously, I moved some of the stuff around. I moved my dish rack out of the way so you can see I do have a small kitchen, which I don't care because I hate to cook. Right there. And then one more plop of egg whites to match one more portion of hash browns. All right, boom, right there. Okay, so that's all done. So there's your egg whites. So I'll just show you what this looks like in a second. So this is what it looks like. There's your hash browns on top of your egg whites. So these are all going to cool. I'm going to unplug this, put it off to the side to cool for just a couple seconds. I'll show you why. Because not only do I hate to cook, I also hate to clean. So I've had to find ways to be efficient with that. So now what we're going to do is go back this way. All right, there's your pasta pot. We're going to take a little bit of Pam. Again, not dirtbag graffiti amounts right there. Take our drained pasta. Put that in there. Okay, you get that nice sizzle. All right, and then we pour the Baylock water in. Why? It just adds flavor. I don't know why it works. I just know it does. So there you go. There's the Baylock water. Now what I'll do is I'll take all that crap that's like caked onto the spatula, all that egg white residue. Shit, I put my dish detergent out there so it'll be out of the way. Squeeze my dish detergent in there. And then just let that soak for a while. Because again, if you hate cleaning, the last thing you want to do is a lot of scrubbing. So I do a lot of soaking. The problem is you want to become a soakaholic, one of those like fear-based procrastination people who soaks everything. Right? Don't be that guy. So I'll let it soak for a couple minutes, and then I actually clean it. And then come back 3 days later, the dishes are still friggin' soaking. Right? So I'm going to stir the Baylock water with the pasta right there. So that's cooking up nice. I actually probably turned the friggin' heat on right there. Right there, beautiful. And that's going to sizzle a little bit. So let that cook. Now, these egg whites, normally I put them up on the sill here, but I had to put my dishwashing rack. I have a dishwasher, by the way. I just never use it. So I'll put these up here to cool, get them out of the way for a second. Again, you'll see how simple all this is. Because I'm a simple guy. Why would I have a complex diet? Pasta. Who the hell's the sponge? Why would I move the sponge? Got my sponge back. Okay. So now I'm just going to wipe this surface down. Right there. And that way if any oil or goo splattered, get a little backsplash action. Again, hate cooking, really, really hate cleaning. I love to eat. So this is my solution. And why does this suck for the gurus and all the diet religious people? Because they can't sell this. They can't sell you. They can't sell you the individual idiosyncrasies and nuance of diet that worked for you. They can just sell you a belief system which does or does not work for them. It really is irrelevant. It's just designed to make them money. All right, we'll get you in your cult. So now this surface is clean. I'll put this is going to be my drying area, my cooling area. Okay, so those are the 4 egg whites, the 4 hash browns right there. You hear the pasta starting to sizzle a little, so let's turn this way. I screwed up. I shouldn't have put the pasta in yet. So look, I folded under the pressure of the cooking video. Do you know what I should have done? Oh, you stupid bastard. I just screwed this up. All right, watch this. I'm going to save the day. What I should have done. Oh, just cook the meat first. Dumb ass. Okay, so I'm going to take this pot that I got from Helen Norton Thompson. Just going to rinse it out because she gave it to me months ago and I have never used it because, again, I hate to cook. But it came in handy today, didn't it? All right. I'm actually going to pour the pasta in this. I screwed the order up. I got so excited. I didn't even make the recipe right. So I'm going to pour the pasta in there for right now. That's just going to sit for a little bit. Now I'm going to make it correctly. So there's your pasta in the pot. This is not the order should have went in. All right. I choked under the pressure of making a YouTube video. So here's the meat. I'm going to cut this sucker open. And I'm going to dump it in. So this should have been the order. After the pasta cooked, there's the meat in there. Boom, right there. I'm going to throw this in the trash. All right, so you'll get to see this now. What should have been done was the meat should have went in the pasta pot. Why in the pasta pot? Well, number one, it keeps all the flavor in there. And 2, it's one less pot I have to clean. I don't know which is better. The fact it keeps all that wonderful meat flavor in there, because there's not that much of it, because again, it's a leaner cut of meat. This where it's very, very important the meat cuts are over 95% lean. And just chop it up with the John Burns wooden spoon and let it cook until it gets nice and brown. Favorite line about that was in the movie The Toy with Richard Pryor when he worked for Master Bates. Actually, I think the pasta took up some of the Pam, so I better spray that before the meat gets all burned at the bottom. Again, you're like, oh, Shank, you use a lot of Pam, that's fat. It's like, well, it doesn't even make that much of a difference. So, again, take your factoids and shove them you know where. I care about results. I care about what works. I care about consistency. I care about what you do versus what you say or what you know. I don't care what I care about. I'm just telling you what the universe cares about. This is what your diet cares about. Wipe that off because it's gross. Okay, so right now, this is going to be a little while. The meat is browning. Turn this up just a little bit so this doesn't take forever. And then while that's browning, we can start a little more cleaning. So I'm going to take this egg white thing. I'm going to rinse it out. And I'm going to put that over here and throw it with the recycles. So now you hear the meat's really cooking. Good. Now we're right back in order. So normally, if I had the video there, I'd have my drying rack here, and I'd start cleaning. So I'm actually going to put the drying rack up on the windowsill. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that. That's going to be gross. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move the cooling area over here. Again, modifications are having to be made for the video. Normally, this isn't the way I would do it. But there's the dish rack. So while the meat is browning and I'm giving it the periodic stirs, and again, normally how this would be done is you do the meat browning first. Damn it, camera skills suck. You do the meat browning first, and then you pour the pasta and then the Baylock water in. But whatever, it's not going to be that good. So then I start cleaning. Why? Well, I'm sitting in the kitchen anyway, waiting for the meat to brown. And then when the pasta starts cooking, I have to wait for that all to cook together with the meat. So I might as well get the cleaning done while I'm in here. Why? Again, if you hate cleaning, you probably hate cooking. If you hate cooking, you probably hate cleaning. So get the friggin' stuff done now. Right? Be that kid who gets his homework done on Friday night so you're free, as Wayne Campbell would say, to party all weekend long. Right there. So that's now dried off and washed. Throw it in there. Get a little more sauce right there. I hope this video didn't cut out. Oh! Please tell me the video's still recording. 15 minutes. Still recording? It's still recording. Beautiful. All right.
It's in the hole.
Check the meat in a second. So right now I'm just stirring off the pasta strainer, getting all that starch off there. So when I use it next time, it's not all gross and disgusting. Let's chop the meat up, stir the meat a little bit. Oh, that's cooking nicely. So the meat's getting nice and brown. Mr. Brown, are you brown all over? That was from the toy with Richard Pryor. Closeted Nazi au pair that lived with them. You have no idea what I'm talking about unless you're a Richard Pryor movie fan from the 1980s. All right. Clean up the spatula, which is soaking for about 5 minutes in the Baylock water cup. Enough to clean off the gook, but not so long that you become that asshole who lets stuff soak for too long. And again, this stuff becomes very relevant if you're living with somebody else. They're not going to support your meal prep. They're going to sabotage it, Beastie Boys style, if you make their life hell. So, clean the damn dishes now. I'm really struggling for content. Me trying to tell you how to interact normally with other people, that really means I'm struggling for content. All right, so here we go. The meat's stirring. So just take a look at that real quick. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the ground beef. It's browning all over. All right. Get my trash, throw out these eggshells. So these in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boom. Some of the gook that's formed the bottom of my strainer. Put that in there. Trash bag's going to go out anyway. Meat's almost there. It's almost fully browned. And again, the advantage of the same pot as the pasta. Less dishes for me to cook clean. And again, a lot of that wonderful meat juice stays in there. So that's actually pretty brown. That looks good. Let me just show you real quick so you see what that looks like. So that's pretty browned. All right, close enough. Let me just chop these bigger chunks to make sure I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. Then what would normally happen if I wasn't psyched out by the YouTube video, then the pasta with the Baylock water would go in. Now I'm going to lose a little of that Baylock water and lose a little bit of that flavor, but whatever. So is life. 46 and I work in a gym. Things don't always work out the way you thought they were going to. Okay, and then I'm stirring up the meat and the pasta together. So there it is right there. There's the meat and the pasta and the Baylock water all stirring together. Now I'll let that cook for about a minute. You gotta be careful. Now the other thing is I pull the pasta out a little early so it's al dente. All right, the reason I pull it out al dente is because I'm gonna be cooking it. I'm gonna be cooking it with the meat and the sauce. So it can be a little, for lack of a better word, undercooked and still come out pretty good. You see it over there, it's kind of sizzling. I'm stirring out this extra pot. Again, this is the punishment I get. I had to clean an extra pot because I wasn't paying attention to my process. Meal prep is a lot like being an actor. You have a process. Okay? That's getting there. Let me just give that a little bit of a stir. The sauce is going in there soon. Now I'm going to take my pan with all this crap caked on the bottom of it, and I'm just going to put a little soap in it. It's probably like the people at the company, oh, that's why your thing sticks now, because you put the soap in it. Whatever. You know, that's starting to get really close to getting ready for the main show, the rouse. Okay, so I'm just going to fill that up with a little bit of water on the bottom, and that'll soak for about, I don't know, while the pasta's cooking, and then that'll make it easier to clean. So I'm just going to put that there, real quick so you can see that. There, that's soaking with some water, but again, just for a couple minutes it's soaking. We're not going to leave it there overnight. Fear-based procrastination does nobody any good. All right, so I'm stirring right there. Now, the big show. I learned this is actually called Rao's, not Rouse. It doesn't matter. It tastes awesome or awesome. So it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. It's phenomenal. Again, 32-ounce jar for the meat over pasta recipe. If I was just making the pasta, there'd be no 32-ounce jar. Now, this stuff does cost more than gold. So I'm going to, I don't know if that's actually true, but it sounded good. All right, I'm just going to wipe up. I got a little spillage there. Spillage there, wipe that up. Beautiful. A little bit on the floor, so I'm going to grab a paper towel. Where are the paper towels? Oh, there they are. Excuse me, I'm a little out of my element here with the kitchen being rearranged. Oh, my gosh. All right, so that's done. So now I'm going to stir the Rao's in there. The Rao's, the meat, the pasta and the Baylock water, all those flavors are coming together again, making my diet sustainable because I actually like what I eat. I just don't eat it, a lot of it relative to my body weight, right? I don't put cheese on it and have with garlic bread on the side, and if I was a smaller person, maybe I wouldn't make the whole box. I'd probably still cook all the meat because the protein will keep you satiated, and it's really hard to get fat on protein, although some idiot will go out there and eat 6 racks of ribs and prove me wrong. I'll get the rest of the Rayos out. Jesus, I'm still crap at it. Fill it up with a little soap. Put a little water in it so you can see this again. So that way it's nice and clean. It'll actually recycle it versus you lazy bastards who claim you like to recycle, but then you don't clean your dishes out. And then the recycling people, you can't use them because they're too dirty, right? And they wind up just throwing them in the regular trash anyway. So I always clean them, at least marginally, before I put them out. This is done, by the way. The pasta's going to get ruined if you cook it too long. So those flavors are all come together now. Just going to put that over here to cool a little bit. Dump the pasta sauce out. It's nice and rinsed out again. I don't have to scrub this like what the hell was her name? Wins all those Oscars and gets nominated a lot. Oh, God. What the hell? Meryl Streep and Silkwood. I don't have to clean it like that. Little Meryl Streep reference there. All right, and then we go back to the pasta, right? So there's your pasta right there. It's all the flavors have cooked and have come together. So now what I'm going to do is take my little stir action right there. Keep the John Burns wooden spoon around just for a little longer. And then I'm going to start portioning it into my individual glass containers. So there's 1, 2, 3 scoops of meaty pasta, saucy goodness right there. You got to look at that. Look at that. You can taste that. And so can I. That's why I stay on my diet. The next one. And then normally, if this is the Food Network, this would all be edited out, or we'd have a cooked portion already ready, so you would see it wouldn't take 45 minutes. Normally, this would take the same amount of time. I don't think there'd be as much time. I would save much time if I wasn't doing it as a video. You say, oh, there's 45 minutes of your life will never get back. Well, you know, go hang out in the clothes store and have to buy yourself new clothes every 3 months because you don't fit them anymore. That takes time. Waiting in line at Burger King takes time. All right? Waiting in line at the pharmacy for the medications you have to take because you're unhealthy. That takes time, too. Like I said, normally I'd be watching my favorite shows on Prime or watching a football game or something while I do this. So the reality is it's really not that time consuming. Look, if you want an excuse to downplay doing this, then you'll find one. Like you'll find an excuse to downplay doing anything. Like I've been cooking this for years and have downplayed doing a video because the quality wouldn't be good or someone wouldn't like it. Look, if you want an excuse, you're going to find it. That's the bottom line. Now I've got 4 lunches, I've got 4 breakfasts, they're all waiting for me. They're literally 1 button on the microwave away from having a delicious meal that I enjoy, that's in a portion that allows me to be in a calorie deficit, that allows me to stay within 3% of my target weight of 200 pounds. And actually, I'm below that. I weighed 198 this week. Okay, so that's all done. Now normally, actually I can move it now. Normally, this area over here would be my cooling area, right? And normally I'd have all the meal. I'll do this as soon as I get you guys off the air. Get you guys off the air. That's like a porn network. But normally I'd have all this spread out, and there's my 4 lunches, and there's my 4 breakfasts. I'll let those sit there and cool. Normally I'd go foam roll or read or, again, watch Amazon Prime. Chill out while this is cooling for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. You don't want to let it cool. You don't want to let it not cool off. I found this stuff can get pretty funky if you put it in the fridge when it's hot. Now, I don't know if it heats the other foods up in the fridge and causes a bacterial environment. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what the science says about that. I just know Shank's taste buds say this doesn't taste that good if you put it in the fridge if it's too hot. So I'll let that stuff cool. Again, there's my 4 breakfasts. There's my 4 lunches. This is really what's left of the cleanup. And I'll get all that stuff done. You guys don't need to see that. That stuff's just going out in the recycle bin. And that's it. So what you got to see was, again, my meat over pasta. Light's killing me. You got to see my meat over pasta recipe. All right. Madison and John got to see the kitchen again one more time. And that's it. And that's the video for today. It's now Sunday night. I'll get this up tomorrow. And we'll go from there. So thank you and goodbye. Off.